Can you believe it's almost basketball season?
No. It seems like the summer went faster than it seems like it normally does. It may have been because the spring was a little shorter since we played longer. I think the fall has been about right. We did 10 individuals, followed by boot camp, followed by training camp. And this morning we had our 21st practice. So the fall schedule has been about what it typically has been since we've been here. It does seem like the summer went by a little faster than normal. Hard to believe it's almost here, though.
Do you feel like with the pieces you add and the guys you have come back, is the defensive offensive system is going to look pretty much the same? I feel like Steve can be there, the steals on defense and offensive system.
I don't know if we can create that amount of steals, just based off what I've seen. But I think that number, as you know, it was an outlier, which aided our offense dramatically. Our points per possession in the first 8 seconds was very good considering our offensive talent. But a very high percentage of that was based off long rebounds and steals. I think we were first, second in the SEC in steal percentage, top 6 or 8 in the country. I don't know if we can replicate that. We'll miss Q's speed and some of that. We'll miss Aaron Cash's ball screen coverage and some of that. But hopefully we can do some other things defensively, maybe that we struggled with. That's what we tried to identify in recruiting. Offensively, Travis, I don't know if we'll be the exact same. I think we kind of figured out some things towards the end of the season that were really good for us. And we're trying to do some things maybe in the full court that'll be more advantageous for us. I think we can score at the rim maybe a little better than we have since Nebo left. We're going to have to find some other guys on the perimeter to score, bigger, not necessarily taller, but bigger. So hopefully we'll be better on the glass. And I think if we can be better on the glass and somehow play with a lower turnover rate, maybe we can get to where some of those other numbers that we weren't good in last year can be better this year.
What kind of growth might you have seen from Emmanuel or
yeah, he's a beautiful kid, and like I've said to you guys before, it's rare anymore that you find a beautiful kid who is also patient. He's ultra talented, but his parents and support staff have always told him the truth. So he doesn't struggle receiving the truth, whether that's on the floor, whether that's off the floor. He's self-aware. Sometimes that's a detriment because he wants to do so good that when he's not doing good, he realizes he's not doing good, and that causes some emotional trauma for him. But as a person, as a worker, as representation for our program, he's perfect, in my opinion.
He's game?
He's a little more comfortable with the ball. We need him to make simple plays, not home run play. He understands that. He's worked on his catch shoot. That's dramatically better. He's probably lost 3 or 4% body fat since he got here, which is hard to do physically because he's such an elite level athlete. We need him to make simple plays. We need him to guard the better perimeter players with force. And we need him to have more of a presence on the glass because athletically and strength-wise, if he can get the defensive rebound, he's good enough that he can initiate the offense in the full court. And last year I wouldn't have said that I feel I wasn't that comfortable. So in that regard, he's really improved.
What about you like the four guys you added in transfer portal, like Dick Marvel, and Pastor Dennis, and Taylor Robinson?
I think our staff did a really good job as the season was unfolding of what do we need to do to get better. And I don't think that was necessarily hard to figure out, but sometimes the emotion of recruiting will take you places that you don't need to go. They were really aligned as a group in regards to this is what we need. I think the thing that has helped is on that path of identifying what we need, they know what will fit and how we operate every day. And those four guys fit in how we operate every day. All four of them, except Dexter. Dexter had to do, I can't remember, an exorbitant number of hours internship. He had graduated from Wichita State in the spring, but had to do, it was like 400 hours of an internship. So Dex didn't get here until the week before school started. But those other guys were here throughout the summer. And all four of those guys will help us because they identify a need that we had at the conclusion of last year. And they've done a really good job of fitting into the habits of what we do on a daily basis.
Have you seen anybody step up in terms of leadership to replace what you might have lost from you and Hassan?
I think Ford's trying to do that. I think Henry's trying to do that. I think sometimes the only way you can find your voice is to use your voice. And, you know, it's different in knowing what someone else is saying and agreeing versus I need to say it and then I need to do it. That's a hard step for anybody to take, whether you're a basketball player or not. If I say it, that probably means my life and my words have to match up. And the accountability that comes with that, not from a coach, but just from a human being, that's a step. And those two guys are for sure trying. Boots for sure understands. He's not as vocal as for Henry, but his habits for sure match up. And so I would say that's kind of where it is. And, you know, Q, the last 15 games, arguably one of the better perimeter players in the country. But upon arrival, he didn't have a voice and didn't have any habits. And so it just takes time. And you can, I think sometimes you want to say that whoever plays the most, whoever's the oldest should be the leaders. And that's, I don't know that that's necessarily the reality in life or in sports. The accountability that comes with, if I say it, I need to do it. And the flip side of that is whoever I'm saying it to, I live with them so they know if I'm living it. And so it takes time because sometimes you know what to say, but you also know that I'm probably not in a position to say it, right? And so those guys are good people, and they're trying to find their voice, and I think they're doing a good job. But with that accountability of your voice, it also is your life / your game.
How different is the progress of everybody coming into this season as opposed to this time last year? Or is there?
Yeah, I was telling Logan this last week or whenever that was that I visited with him. You know, year one, 5 players on the team when we took the job. 4 of those 5 eventually made it to the exhibition game. Terrible to start, terrible after the start. Kind of began to figure it out. Won 5 out of our last 7, and then obviously the world changed. Awful year during COVID, and then we signed, I think, 8 players off of Zoom in what ended up being last year's team. So I understand that it's year 4, but it kind of feels like the first time that we've done this back-to-back years. You know, I've been to SEC Media Day twice, year 1 and year 4. I've done this 3 times, year 1, 3, and 4. So there's some continuity on some guys that we all know that we've seen last year. And then there's some level of excitement on the new guys, but joining them together, that's been the first time that that's happened since we've been here.
Can you talk about, kind of the long-term goals, or what are the expectations that you guys have?
Yeah, typical coach cliche answer. We need to be a little better tomorrow than we were today. I don't know all of the answers. We scrimmage on Saturday. I think that'll reveal a lot. We've never played in front of fans, which will be next week. That will reveal some. We play 7 games in November, and I think 4 of those games are not here. And that'll be the first time we've ever done that in the month of November. So I think we have a lot of growth in front of us. I'm learning about Dex. I'm learning about Bug. I'm learning about Andy. I'm learning about Kay. And in learning them, not just their game, but how do we utilize their game? How does their game fit with the returning guys? What's best for us on both sides of the ball? We've had officials on campus every Tuesday morning this month, including today. And, this was the first time we ran out of bounds plays. Here's 3 SEC officials, the ball's kicked out of bounds. I'm like, hey, just check it up top like me and you would at the park, because we don't have an out of bounds play. So today was the first time we had out of bounds. And so I've tried to keep the pace the way that it needs to be, but just like anybody else, you want to get things as closed loop as you can before you just keep opening new things. And so I think we've went about it the right way, but over the next month, be a lot of things coming at us. Tomorrow, we're off tomorrow, but Thursday we'll talk about an opponent for the first time. We've never done that. We'll show clips of an opponent for the first time. So there's still a lot of new things that we've yet to go through yet.
This transfer portal era, and you can talk a lot about the different basketball aspects of things that you could further need to have, but is being relational one of the more key ones now, and being able to bring those guys in?
Thanks for asking. I'm probably the wrong guy to answer that. I think that's all this is anymore. I think what's required to be successful has always been the same thing as what's required now. But the way to maneuver in all that has transpired, I think it has to be relational. There's so many different voices, distractions, whatever words you want to use. And at the end of the day, it has to be about your relationship. And the one thing I've learned, Travis, even probably since COVID, or on the backside of COVID, is, I grew up in an era where it was about the players and how to help them and how to teach them and how to grow them up, maybe in their game, but also in their life. I think that I'm trying to spend just as much time as a leader trying to make sure I'm helping the adults grow, because there's so many adults and there are so many players that you got to try to help all of them, because it will always come down to relationships. And I think that there's so many different currencies in life. Me and you think about money, me and you think about intellectual currency. There's a lot of different currencies, but I think relationship currency is arguably one of the most important, in my opinion, relative to what's going on. Because just like those 4 kids that he asked about, that's happening at the speed of sound. I mean, I told JMO, we played March the 31st in New York. We traveled home on April the 1st. That was a Friday. The Final Four is in New Orleans on Saturday. The championship game is Monday. That's the dead period. I go see every parent on our team. I did. Not anybody else. On a plane, I'm going to see every parent on our team during a dead period to talk about what's transpired, to talk about what's the future, to talk about the transfer portal, to talk about the future specific to their son. And then we weren't recruiting for 17 consecutive days. Well, as you know, if you look at Twitter, it's like, oh, Travis just entered the portal. Okay, what's Travis's number? What's his mom's number? What's his coach's number? Where is Travis? Where is Travis's mom live? Hey, we need a plane. Hey, we need a car. Hey, I go there, and I'm not saying it's right. I took all 3 recruiters with me everywhere I went, and we went recruiting because it's happening so fast. Let's get in the car. Hey, what'd you think about Travis? I think this. All right, have you talked to his mom? Call his mom right now. Put her on the phone with me. Like, it's got to happen in real time because Travis is going to make a decision. Is Travis going to visit? Can we get Travis in school? Does Travis go to school? Does Travis want to go to school? Is Travis going to graduate? Does Travis have a COVID year left? Like, it's happening so fast that I just took everybody with me. And I told J-Mo, we're leaving, and this is the last day we recruit. We got to go. And we have to make decisions concurrently. Is that right? Like, I don't like Travis. I didn't like his attitude. It's not going to translate to how we operate. Well, Buzz, AC and Brad are recruiting. Yeah, I don't care. I didn't like Travis's spirit. Was I right? I'm not saying that, but you have to make that decision in real time because we got to figure out where's the next. We got to go see Logan. Logan went in the portal while we were talking to Travis. And then you've got to have a support staff back here. This is Logan's number. This is his address in San Antonio. This is his high school coach. This is his AAU coach. Hey, coach, how you doing? Where are you? We're thinking about having breakfast with you in the morning. Wow, where are you? I don't know. We just saw Travis. I don't know where Travis is. Like I forgot. But it's happening so fast. And like, are you making the right decisions based on the clips of those 4 kids? That's easy. Like, oh, he's a good player. Oh, he does this. He does that. Oh, he would help us on the class. We need him. But yeah, well, let's go talk to him. And I need all of the adults that are allowed. Let's sit in the room. And now let's all go see his sphere of influence. And let's make sure that they understand our vision for Travis. Because otherwise, it's volatile.
Jimbo Busher was asking me about that as far as keeping players from going in the transfer portal. He almost said that he has to continuously recruit guys even after they're on the team. Do you ever find you have to do that?
Well, I just think that regardless of the words, and I don't know what Coach said in the specific question, so I'm not trying to speak out of turn. But specific to Travis's question, hey, do you think this is relationship based? Yes, sir. When? Today. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow. Because it has to be ongoing because the trust that's required has to be, I hope my wife would say the same thing. After 22 years, I know we're married, but I still have to work on that relationship because it's a priority. Does that mean we should go on date night? Yes. Does that mean I need to be a better father? All of those things. But there is no NCAA calendar that has rules over relationships. And at the end of the day, regardless of what this model has morphed into or what it's going to morph into, it'll always come down to relationships.
How do you, with the versatility you have on this roster, how do you go about identifying areas to prioritize with guys' development to kind of fit into what they can do well and what this team needs while not, taking away from the personal aspect?
Yeah, good question. So if you were a returning player, just like you would do a business plan, we kind of study their game, all parts of their game, anything you want to talk about. Shooting, every shot, what types of shots, what percentages, turnovers, where were your turnovers, what type of turnovers, rebounding, any category, we study all of it. And then with a returning player, what do you think is important? Which kind of comes down to the same relationship piece. What's important to you? Coach, I need to get better at this. Okay. That's what you need to get better at. This is what I think you need to get better at. And now let's put together a plan. This is what we're going to do. And that's why I don't really know. I'm getting better at understanding what our new guys are doing. Like we scrimmaged today, and I got 3 guys on our team that I coached that are brand new. Because some of what I think their game is, I need to be in the huddle and go, hey, we're doing this right here. Because I want to know if you can execute a draw right now coming out of a timeout. Does that fit your game? I don't know, but that is part of your game. Can you execute out of a timeout? And so during the summer, it's all for individual growth. And then once we start practice, it's all for team growth. But within teamwork, we do, we call them macro skills. And so almost like camp. And we've got 6 baskets. And these 3 guards are these 3 baskets, and we're going to rotate through. These are the 3 stations. We'll do the same thing with the forwards. And so we want their game to continue to evolve and morph into something better, but we also want them to be a partner in that growth.
What do you feel like what have you seen from Ashton Smith after being kind of a veteran year?
He's been hurt. There's a word for it. He hasn't practiced yet. It's not career ending or anything like that, but he does need some time. It's foot, ankle related.
Everybody got what they need?
Coach, apologies for telling you this. I don't mean to put you in position to speak out of turn. Is there any,
I won't speak out of turn, regardless of your question.
is there any chance, I know with Chris Monster is, dynamic on the basketball court, is there any chance that him being on the roster is on the Clippers this year, or is that in the
No, sir.
All right.
Thank you, guys.